And Mr. President, I thank you for being here. I'm glad you've come across the water to teach at Georgetown. I'm glad to see you. I have been asked to talk today about the common good in terms of how it affected my presidency. Therefore, I will not, unless the questions arise, spend an enormous amount of time talking about the way forward, although I have views on all of that. You have heard that I came here nearly 15 years ago to deliver a series of speeches outlining my philosophy of government and the ideas that I proposed to pursue if I got elected. When I gave the first speech, I believe I was still running fifth in the polls in the Democratic primary in New Hampshire. So it was probably an act of hubris, but I felt good here. I first came to this hall 42 years ago, and I have come many times since. I love it very much. In the context of late 1991, I defined the common good as a new covenant for equal opportunity, shared responsibility, an inclusive community, and an aggressive approach to try to create those values throughout the world at the end of the Cold War. It was what I thought America should do to advance the common good. Really just a restatement of what our founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor to form a more perfect union. Given the nature of the political debate today, I think it's important to point out that that 18th century construct in 21st century language meant the following: we are not perfect, we never will be perfect, no one has the whole truth, but we can always do better. That's what a more perfect union meant. It is a permanent mission for America designed to make America a permanent work in progress. Now, as Jack and John have said, I try to do that work as a private citizen through the Foundation's work here in America and around the world on AIDS, on climate change, on economic development, and through the Clinton Global Initiative. But I know politics still matters, and I believe ideas matter. I loved the 4 years I spent here at Georgetown. When I wrote my memoirs, my editor made me take out several pages that, I believe it or not, as long as it was, several pages I had written about Georgetown. He says, no one will believe that you remember every professor and all these lectures and that you saved all your papers. No one will believe this. You got to take some of this out. I say that for all of you who are students here, to say that this was a seminal experience in my life coming here. The professors that I had then affected me in ways that continue in my life today. And the most important point I can make about that for the purposes of my remarks today is that I really believed more strongly when I left here than when I came that ideas matter, that evidence matters, that thinking and reasoning matter, that ideas have consequences, and that in politics that means ideas lead to policies which have positive or negative effects in people's lives. I believe that then, I believe that now. I believe then, based on the experiences I had here, that not everyone who disagreed with me was my enemy, that I might be wrong, that as forcefully as I pursued anything I believed in and any argument that I embraced, I had to always be willing to listen to others. And that in the interplay, the dialectic between my position and another, the searching for more facts, the searching for better arguments, and frankly, just facing the evidence of what did and didn't work and what the consequences of various courses were, that I would come to a better place as a public official. I believed that then. I believe that now. You heard in President DeGioia's remarks, I wonder how many college presidents even quote Latin anymore. I loved it. The same conviction. When I gave these Georgetown speeches, they allowed me to set out this construct of equal opportunity, shared responsibilities, inclusive community, an aggressive approach to engagement with the rest of the world. I thought that they were consistent with the traditional American values of work and family, freedom and responsibility, faith and tolerance. That as a Democrat, I was being faithful to Andrew Jackson's credo of opportunity for all and special privileges for none, to President Kennedy's call for mutual responsibility and citizen service, and to Franklin Roosevelt's commitment to continuous innovation, to bold, persistent experimentation. I also asked there and throughout the '92 campaign for a political debate that engaged these themes, that moved away from what I then thought was an unacceptable level of partisanship and rancor and a tendency to let elections turn on issues that had nothing to do with the decisions that leaders would make after the election was over or the consequences on ordinary people's lives. Politics of division and personal destruction. I frequently cited in that year a book that was written that I think has special relevance today, even though for all of you 15 years is a lifetime ago. And I swear this was in my notes before I saw him in the audience, but E.J. Dionne, this distinguished columnist for the Washington Post, wrote a book called Why Americans Hate Politics. And the central thesis was that Americans hate politics because it seems irrelevant to them and they feel like they're being manipulated because they're always being asked to make false choices. You're either pro-labor or pro-business. You're pro-growth or pro-environment. You're for a strong national defense or for trying to make an agreement with everybody no matter how crazy they are. That there's always an either-or choice. And the truth is, most of us don't think that way, most of us don't live our lives that way, and most of us long for a politics where we have genuine arguments, vigorous disagreements, but we don't claim to have the whole truth and we don't demonize our opponents, and we're really trying to work on what works best for the American people. Everybody knows this.